Okay, what's going on? So we just got complete with our first query. We brought back this big array of to-dos. So we obviously need to figure out how to create to-dos. We need to create some to-dos, which we did, but we need to learn how to do it through our GraphQL system here. So to run through what we did before, we created a model over here in Mongoose for our to-do with some properties. And we basically built a schema into a model which is similar to a constructor with a capital T. And I erased those ones that we used that have been commented out that created that data for us. So those are gone. And then in your type defs, see, we set up our query here. We tell it what to expect. So we tell it this is what a to-do is. This is what we tell GraphQL what a to-do is. And we tell it what our query is. We tell it what we want to see back, an array of to-dos. And then on our resolver, we match it up, get all to-dos, matches up with get all to-dos. And this is going to return that array of to-dos. And it interfaces through the context with our models, which is our database. And we use these database. I haven't got too into the Mongo. You're going to just have to take my word for it, or if you know Mongo, that's cool. But you'll learn some Mongo commands just by watching. So now the next thing we're going to do is learn how to do what's called a mutation or create some to-dos. And we don't need to do anything with the model. You've already seen we can create them with this model. We already did that. But now we have to put it into the GraphQL system. So in here, in our type defs, we're going to do a type of mutation. And we're going to call it create to do. That's going to return single to do. But it's also going to take in an argument. The argument is going to be called text. And text is going to be a string. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Save that. And then our resolvers, we'll put a comma after query. But give ourselves a little room here. My code formatter will let me. Mutation, and that's going to be an object. And we'll say create to do. That's also going to be an async function. Root, args, and we'll structure models off of there again. And that's going to be equal to an arrow function, like so. And we could actually destructure args. So root we don't really deal with very often. Root is just the first argument. But args is arguments. And that's anything that you send in. So we're sending in text, which comes from right here. That's our plan. We're sending in a string called text. So we're going to say, okay, well, text is right here. So in here, we're going to say const to do equal to new models dot to do, and we're going to pass in text. And of course, we want to save it, but we don't want to just call save like we did before, because we also need to return the to do. And we want to return the save to do because it doesn't have an ID or any of that other stuff. We want to make sure it's saved properly before we return it, because there's no use in returning it if it's not saved. Then we're never be able to get it, and we'll think we have it. So what good is that? So we'll say saved to do equals await to do dot save. And we'll just return saved to do like that. And this is asynchronous. We could put this in a try catch loop. Like so, where we would catch an error like in here, and I would probably want to know what that error was. I'd say something like create to do. You don't have to necessarily use a try catch loop here. But just to cover all the bases, that should cover all the bases right there. I might as well stick this in there too. I'm using this async await syntax, so there is no callback to check for an error or anything like that, like you might be used to. But using a try catch, if anything wrong happens up in the try block, it'll automatically kick the error. I'll get a message. It'll say create to do, and then it'll put the error in the console after I catch it. So I'll know where it came from to create to do, and then I'll return null because I didn't save anything I never made my user. So this should work just fine. We'll save that. And fire up the server, npm start. Make sure it starts okay, looks good. I'll go over here, clear that. So we need to do a mutation. So we'll do mutation, and we'll do, how these go exactly, mutation. Create to do. Create mutation. Text is a string. I forgot how to do these over here. I could just do this. Okay, I have to refresh it. There we go. Create to do, and gonna pass in text. So pass in text like this, I believe. So there we go. This should be how we set it up here. Oh, and it has an ID. I forgot that. Text. Created that. Okay, so that's how you set it up, just like that. And it should work here if we run it, and it does. So you can tell it worked because now we've got our date stamp came back to us, completed false came back to us, paint the house. We're supposed to be paint the house, but that's all good. And another thing to add into our type def on a to-do is that it has a property of ID, and that's equal to capital ID. That's a special type inside GraphQL for identification. So there you go.